So first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'll start with you. You're here representing your team at Sinoboost, and Sinoboost is transitioning to regenerative farming with biofertilizers. So explain to us, what is it that is so special about your solution, and explain to us what it does.
Okay, I'm Da Ibrahim. I'm 28 years old. In 2018, I have joined Heliopolis University as a teaching assistant at Heliopolis University at Faculty of Organic Agriculture. And then in 2020, I registered a master in Faculty of Science major in microbiology. And my supervisor was the team member, Dr. Iman Noor. She is from Faculty of Agriculture. And the topic of my master was cyanobacteria. This is the beginning of the journey of the cyanoboost. And it's a kind of microorganism that can sequester carbon from the air and attract beneficial bacteria around it so it can enhance the plant more.
And you're based in Egypt, and your team
Yes,
members are based in Egypt.
in
Heliopolis
Egypt,
is a research
Heliopolis
institute and
University.
university in Egypt. And tell us, what made you go into this technology? What was the catalyst, and what was the key that got you and your teammate to talk together and get passionate about this? And what crops and where do you focus this solution on, and what comes out of it in terms of impact?
Okay, first, we started from medicinal plants because at the Heliopolis University, they had a partnership with Sekim company and they are focusing on medicinal herbs. So we started with the available in our community, the medicinal plants. And then we are planning to scaling up this to other crops. And the importance of this solution is because it can enhance the microbial community in the soil so it can protect us from the biodiversity loss that we are facing now. Also, for the medicinal plants, it can enhance the quality and the quantity of the essential oil extracted. So, it's also for the food security and for the plant growth promotion. So, it's a holistic positive impact for all the plant and the soil.
It's nice to see regenerative agriculture thinking being
Yes.
incorporated. And we've challenged you guys along the way to make sure that there was more and more regenerative thinking into your solutions. Katia, you also represent a solution here. You've flown in from Saudi Arabia, where you are a researcher at KAUST University. Tell us about your solution and the benefits around nanoencapsulation, what it means, and what type of crops can it be adhered to, and what benefits do we see from that?
Technically, as you may know, like the climate conditions in the MENAT region are very challenging. So the current agricultural practices, for example, undergo like different issues. For example, when you apply a fertilizer, usually undergoes degradation because of the high temperatures or salinity. So with nanoencapsulation, we try to protect different molecules of interest. For example, plant growth regulators, micronutrients, so they can be protected and delivered to the plants and to specific sites, precise delivery, and then they can be released gradually. So with this, we help a regenerative agriculture because we do not need to do multiple applications, for example, in soils or directly in the leaf surfaces. So we are nowadays treating seeds. So from there, we do nanopriming, that is basically to encapsulate our products and then treat the seeds. So with that, we prepare the seeds to be ready to face these climate conditions in the field. So we provide them with nutrients, with water, and also, for example, with plant growth regulators. So in this case, we can grow, for example, in high salinity conditions or high temperatures, and our chances for germination are more likely to happen under these conditions.
And I think this is the reason why you progress so far into the program, as the program is meant to be designed around making sure that it's addressing MENAT challenges and solutions from our region for our current challenges. So I'll move on to Lara. Here you're representing your team at the Waste Lab. Tell us more about what you're focusing on and your solution and how it contributes to the wider ecosystem.
So, our journey started between me and my co-founder Jaylan right from our home. It was during COVID, during lockdown, and when we started really understanding the power of nature, whether in a positive way or a negative way, when this virus, paralyzed everyone and just disrupted everyone's life. And at the same time, like I met with my co-founder and we shared the same passion, which is soil. And we understood that soil is being degraded. We have 60 years, if not less, of growing in soil. We come from countries from Lebanon and Turkey, which are rich with beautiful soil, but it's being degraded. A lot of wildfires and a lot of problems. And living in the UAE as an expat, both of us, we understand how lucky we are here that we always have food. We have food security. And we import in here 90% of our food. And once we realize that almost half of it is being thrown away, this is one part of the story. And the second part is the soil is being degraded. We try to see how we can connect the dots and change the problem, which is food waste, into a solution. And this is when we started looking at nature as our ally and our technology. Like I'm proud to say that when I'm asked, what is your technology? I tell them it's nature. Because we are bringing people and society closer to nature and really showing that it is a valid solution when it comes to food security, to climate change, to regenerative agriculture. So from here and there, we connected the dots and we said, this food that is usually is wasted by an individual, by a company, by anyone, how we can use it with nature's help to create something that can go back into the soil. And as Dua said, we also always say this food feeds the soil, and this soil feeds the plant. And we also import 94% of the compost here from places that are not equal to our local environment. We want to localize things and create local solutions from things that we normally waste. And with that, we create impact on different levels. So, right now, we have established quite our name here when it comes to helping businesses and individuals achieve zero landfill when it comes to food waste and data collection when it comes to all the climate metrics and compost production. And right now, we have reached the point of this regenerative agriculture aspect of our business, which is creating compost mixes. Because we are able to get segregated food waste from different entities, we can input the different kinds of food that have the different minerals or vitamins that a certain crop would need, whether it's a tomato or a cucumber or whatever is grown here. So this is part of R&D now. We are creating these different mixes and adding them to our soil here to see how it changes the soil structure, how it feeds the soil feeds the plant, and how we can reduce the water, dependency by increasing the water holding capacity of the soil. So this is now what we are focusing on, and this is what we want to help farmers transition to in the UAE and the region as well.
So in nature-based solutions, quite a simple nature-based solutions.
Yes.
Nature is really giving us a solution in a strict term of nature-based solutions, and then tailoring it for the current conditions of our region and for the individual crop needs and the farmers' needs. And I think that's an important point to highlight, and working with farmers with data collection. I'd like to address the researchers that are within research institutions here and the ones that have typically taken a PhD path, so Duha and Katya. What normally happens within research that is developed in the academic and the knowledge economy? So what is a typical path of this research?
Long short story remains in a paper, honestly speaking, because we get funding, for example, to buy our materials, to start developing a new project, to collect some data. And it's like really nice because we can contribute to the scientific field. But something that it's happened is like our projects, most of the time they get stuck at lab scale. So at lab scale is something very different that will happen at larger scale in real conditions, for example, in the field. So I might get some amazing results, for example, in the Petri dishes. However, when I try to apply, it could be totally different. And we have to understand that we need at this time to have more like reliable information to make sure how we can improve our materials or all the technology that we develop. So this is usually the pathway, at least for the chemistry part.
That's, I think, one of the aim of the program that can connect this idea with the farm or the real land to apply it. That's really a problem, especially in Egypt.
So how do we get this research where it's much needed on the farmlands to scale for impact to help commercialize this? What do you feel is lacking in this field?
Definitely collaboration, for example, because sometimes as a scientist, we believe that industry, it is against science or like we cannot like nurture each other. Also, we need collaboration with real farmers because they understand, they have empirical experience, they know the soil, they need the land. So maybe we know the technology, but a farmer is a farmer. He has grown there, he know how the things work. So we need to collaborate that. So we need to remember that we are part of a society, so we all grow together.
Do you think, on behalf of all researchers in the region, do you think they're getting the right support in terms of accessibility land or the grant systems or funding?
No, no, no. They have not
No.
access, no, and they have limited funding. So they usually used it in the laboratory, not in the field.
Okay. And who do you feel is the sector or the entity that could come in and bridge from academia into the farmland? Is it the government? Is it legislation? Is it civil society? Or is it more the private sector where you feel they can have a role to play in this?
I think definitely the government could play a crucial role in there because some of them through different programs they can incentivize farmers okay to try to grow different crops for example because sometimes the revenues are not like good for them so that's why farmers they don't want to grow like wheat. That is the case of Saudi Arabia. It's more profitable to grow alfalfa because the Saudi land is not like so nice, for example, for wheat. However, if you know that you might have a technological solution that can help you to boost and so on, then farmers, okay, they trust because they trust the government. At some point, they are like involved in those social programs. So definitely there is a crucial role to see. And when you are like as well working with the government, with legislation and so on, of course you feel like okay this is like more reliable so we can connect to a formal pathway for example academia and actually the farmers. Yeah.
Regional collaboration has come across as an important point also. We were very lucky enough to have 18 countries coming through that. And I think it'd be very interesting to see within the different challenges and dynamics across the region in agriculture, how we can do a knowledge exchange and we hope that you can collaborate with the other 20 to 50 applicants that came through the program.
Can I add something here? Like from our experience with the Waste Lab, the private sector is a big mobilizer, and I think this program also,
Yes.
shows that. Like we're getting some like opportunities which haven't manifested yet, but we are in talks with some private entities who's telling us we are ready to sponsor part of your land so you can test the compost. And then we try to find maybe a revenue sharing model or some kind of campaign because now a lot of private companies have a CSR or environmental mandate. They need to give back. Now they have budgets for it. Before it was maybe a tick, but now they're going deeper. It's becoming more in their KPIs and their values. So they tell us if you can send us a proposal of, for example, how we can sponsor this area of your land to test and to grow something that we can use in our hotel. Or if they are doing drinks, juices, we can grow something that doesn't have to be big scale, but at least they can use it for their storytelling and we can benefit at the same time from the fund to test. So we're getting this kind of opportunity. Another one is with a hypermarket, I'm not going to mention now, who would provide us with the food scraps, which we can compost, and then they have access to farms where we can use the compost. And then this farms provide the food to the hypermarket that they can sell, or they can support us in selling the compost in the hypermarket by co-branding.
How do we go beyond this type of support? I mean, this is great that it's coming and it's going into more experimental. It's going outside of the lab. It's going into, the next phase of testing things out and seeing where we can evolve. But I think with low tech science and nature-based solutions, there's a huge economic, environmental, and social benefit and impact to be made. However, typically, these aren't so appealing from a funding or an investment perspective. Investment typically looks at the 10x return. It usually then lends us into territory that is more high tech, very mature, very complex in terms of technology and innovation. Whereas the state of agriculture, food systems, and climate change as we are currently facing would need a lot of nature-based and low-tech solutions. How do we tackle this? How do we make it more appealing? Where would the funding come? Because, you know, equity sharing model would not work in this case. VCs is not a typical funding option for you. So you've had quite a few experience within the first chapter that you were focusing on FMB, and now you're going into more of the research with the farmers. What's your advice? What's your journey been like? How ideally should this be funded?
I mean, from our experience, like in the beginning, we were bootstrapped. It was our project from our savings because we believed in this and we wanted to start something because nothing was available. We actually had to pay for an incubator to have us. So instead of the opposite. And then later we started finding individuals, angel investors who believed in what we are doing, who want to give back. They have an investment amount. Instead of investing it in high, deep tech, I don't know what technology, they want to give back. So even though the ticket sizes are small, but as an early stage startup, they're helpful. They cover gaps in the expenses that you have to, fill in. And then we went through the VC route, and it was unsuccessful. It actually harmed us because the VC pulled out last minute because the market dynamics, and they didn't really understand what a nature-based solution is. They're asking us questions as if we are deep tech. So it wasn't really a fit back then, which made our funding quite challenging. And we had to raise less than like 1/4 of what we wanted to raise, which curbed our growth. But at the same time, it made us make very strategic decisions in terms of how we want to spend our money. So it had a positive effect. So every dirham or dollar we spent, it was super well planned and strategically, executed. And then the corporate started coming in and started telling us, we want to give you business. So we relied a lot on pushing the business development aspect. We said we don't want to keep diluting ourselves, giving equity, because after 1 year, then we will have nothing left. And it's important that you keep the ownership because it's important. And in the first year of official operations, we became profitable. And now we have the case study, like a nature-based solution, women-owned startup can actually make a difference, is profitable. And now we are funding again. And now we have these numbers. We showed them. We broke even last year. And now, like, you don't need to keep comparing us to deep tech to, we can do it. So yeah, my advice is try to find the least dilutive from the beginning. It's challenging, but things are changing. And impact investment, even though it's still in the infancy, but there are things happening and moving. And network and collaboration. Whenever you can cut costs and share resources with other startups who are doing something similar, it will really help as well.
So developing an ecosystem, a regional ecosystem that sees the value of science and nature-based solutions, that is cocooning and will take you under its wing, in-kind support, grants, more grants on offer. And I think more of the impact investment is where versus the traditional investment of equity exchange.
We participated in a lot of competitions, and they were tech competitions, and we won first place. And this gave us some cash as well, like a bit here and there. And this is also an encouragement. Even if you're not the tech that they are asking for, you still have a tech. And it's much more impactful, and just go and present and pitch because the mindset is changing, and it's going to be an extra money for you with no liquidation, dilution from your side.
This is an interesting point. We were talking to Sheikh Dr. Majd al-Qasimi at one point in time, who's on our advisory committee, and he was saying, the way that we see tech is normally the digital aspect of it, and technology can be an innovation. I mean, the first person that invented the broom, or the first person that invented something very basic, that was technology back then. And when we focus on the program, we were trying to convince people that technology and innovation can be just simple, a process-driven innovation. And a lot of times in the field of agriculture and the challenges that we face, it's not a complex solution. It perhaps is complex to commercialize and to scale up and to get the impact to larger farmers. But the solution in itself is quite a simple process or methodology that can have a huge impact, which is a great opportunity and hope for all of us in terms of tackling these solutions from the space of nature-based solutions. But we need people to believe in us, right? And we need a private sector to be able to take a gamble and take a shot and give us a shot at proving ourselves here.
There's a term that now we're using, innovation by simplicity,
Beautiful.
and it means everything, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So what does the future look like for you, Doha? What is success for Ciano Boost? Where would you like to see yourself? What's next?
So I hope that we expand in Egypt first to cover all governorates there, then expanding it globally, not only in the medicinal plants or medicinal herbs, but focusing more on more crops. That's what I aim, and I aim to specify more in the microbiome analysis and this biodiversity loss issue. So I'm still searching for a topic to register my PhD, and I think I will, inshallah, register for this topic.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Sounds very exciting. Keep us posted. Katya, what's success look like to you? Where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, well, definitely we like to continue testing our products because like we have different type of nano encapsulation, for example, different type of nutrients and so on. So in Saudi, they have been like working really nice, but we would like to try different seasons, other type of crops, and in different regions across the MENAT to see how is the behavior. Indeed, collect more data. Of course, we would love to continue, yeah, publishing, but applying. So this is like the idea that we need to have because we also want to establish like kind of our name, let's say, for the future generation of researchers, because there are like a very less people, at least in Saudi Arabia, working in nanoencapsulation technologies for agriculture. The majority now is focused on the health sector, but yeah, we have a lot of that. So we need more people working on that. And I believe if they see that we can collect enough data, that the solutions are working, that there is support across the region. So definitely they will like feel more interested about it to continue doing more research.
And you've been testing your innovations so far, specifically in wheat. What other crops are you interested in utilizing this nano encapsulation and nano priming technology for the benefits that you've highlighted?
Yeah, I would like to continue also with per millet. For example, we also have some preliminary studies in the real field with peppers as well. And yeah, I would like to try also like some other type of edibles, for example, lettuces or tomato or some fruits as well. But like main now we just need to focus like a little bit more in the cereals part. And we will also love to probably test it in hydroponic systems as well, because they're like the behavior, for example, of this encapsulation technology could be different or could not. So we would like to definitely see that as well. Yeah.
So we have quite a few plans. First of all, we are now based in Dubai. We want to expand our operations in terms of food rescue across the Emirates, starting with Abu Dhabi and Sharjah, because we're getting demand there. Second thing is continuing our research to develop these different compost mixes for different crops, starting with cucumbers and tomatoes. But now we're looking at what are the most grown fruits and vegetables here, and also the niche ones, because we have like figs, avocado. We want to also tackle these. And thanks for the Regenerative Agriculture Venture Program, hopefully we'll get more access to farms to test and to scale up and to show more impact, because it's important. We have our farm, but this is our controlled space. We want to test with different farm needs, different pain points, and identify what else we can add to the research. And the tech aspect, which comes to data. Right now, we capture the climate-related data, but we want to start testing also the farmer-centric data. Because at the end of the day, if the farmer does not buy it and does not understand and is not motivated to use it because it doesn't positively affect the crops, doesn't make sense. So we want to go more into the biodiversity metrics, crop yields, soil health, different chemistry and physiology of the soil. So, and add these metrics on a digital area. So right now we have more of a manual process of doing things. We want to digitize, have a mobile app that one part of it is connected to those food waste rescuers, the businesses we work with who are diverting from landfill, and then the farmers. And to create this whole loop, and so they can really understand that each part of the story is important. And finally, this farm that we want to have it as a hub for local farmers to come and understand the importance and benefits of regenerative agriculture. We want to create a small microcosm of this bigger scale farm for them to see how we are doing the whole cycle from A to Z for educational purposes and also to motivate them to transition towards regenerative practices.
Well, I think, we had the award ceremony today, and we were very careful to say this is not the end of the program, and this is not the final, and this is not a closure of the program. In the contrary, this is the beginning of this journey, and it's wonderful to hear your ambitions and everything that you want to achieve moving forward. And this is definitely going to be the beginning of the journey, and we can't wait to see what your journeys will look like and where it's going to take you. And we're very proud to have you as part of our program in our inaugural year. When we were doing the live pitch, I think towards the end, we were tallying the scores, and we came to a sudden conclusion once we identified who the winners were based on the evaluation criteria, that we suddenly had a winning 3 winners that were led by female-led teams, which is a very pleasant surprise to us, because when we were conceptualizing the program in the beginning and looking for sponsors and speakers and judges and mentors and advisory board and subject matter experts, it was very difficult to find as many women in agriculture as it was as men. And it was something that we kept at the back of our head. We came through, we had some fantastic women as well as men stakeholders as part of the initiative, but we were always conscious of that within agriculture field. So it was a very pleasant surprise, and we look forward to following your journeys and being part of your journeys and supporting in any way we can to make sure that the impact that you're currently having within your innovative solutions really see the light of day and can tackle the MENAT region-specific challenges. And again, congratulations. And you should be very proud of yourself so far. And there's a lot more to come, and we'll stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.